Something is about to happen on the 20th of August that your spirit has been feeling, but your mind can't explain. If you're watching this, it's not a coincidence. It's confirmation. You were meant to hear this. There are moments in time that don't just pass, they mark you. And this one? It was carved into heaven's calendar long before you knew the battle you'd survive to reach it. God's chosen ones don't get reminders by accident. You've been seeing signs, feeling shifts, waking up in the middle of the night with your heart racing, and you don't know why. This is why. The 20th of August is not just a date. It's a divine alarm clock. And if you ignore it, you might miss the breakthrough that generations before you prayed you'd receive. Before we go further, I need to honor something sacred to those who've supported this message with a super thank you deeply. You're not just giving, you're sowing into a moment that's bigger than all of us. And for those of you who feel the pull right now, drop 777 in the comments. Not out of habit, but as a declaration, I'm ready. I received it. I will align. Because today is not business as usual. And here's the part, they won't tell you this moment, won't wait. It's holy, it's fast, and it's already in motion. So, if you've been waiting for a sign to step into what's yours, this is it. Let's begin, because in the next few minutes, you're going to understand why the 20th of August might be the day that rewrites your entire future. God's chosen ones. If you miss the 20th of August, you might regret it forever. There are days that blur into each other, repetitive, grey, almost indistinguishable from the last. For most, life feels like a series of closed loops, rehearsed lines, and predictable motions. But then there are days rare, holy interruptions, where the invisible realm leans in and presses a divine pen into your trembling hands. The 20th of August is that day, not because the clock struck differently, but because heaven did. What if I told you that this isn't a day to analyze, but to receive rain on parched ground? What if trying to control it was the very thing blocking your access to it? This isn't a logical equation. This is a supernatural frequency, one that's been harmonizing with your spirit for longer than you've known. Like the way a lion senses the storm before it breaks, your soul has already picked up the vibration. You're not repeating yesterday, you're breaking through today. This is not just another morning where the same battles echo and the same questions remain unanswered. No, this is a divine inflection point, where the script turns, not by chance, but by command. In the architecture of heaven, there are days built like cathedrals, etched with purpose, framed with glory, and designed for legacy. The 20th of August is one of those days. You won't forget what opens here. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Psalm 118-24. But not in the casual way we've recited before. This time, you're not rejoicing because it's easy. You're rejoicing because something in the spirit realm has declared this day sacred on your behalf. Heaven has constructed this moment with surgical precision. Think about this. Why have certain doors stayed sealed for so long? Relationships that never mended, calls that never came, opportunities that slipped through like sand. Could it be that the foundations weren't aligned yet? In physics, resonance occurs when two frequencies match. Today, your frequency is finally catching up to the very destiny that's been waiting to respond. God does not need the applause of others to mark you approved. David was anointed king while his own father forgot he existed. 1 Samuel 16:11-13. That's the pattern of heaven. It selects in silence and elevates in the face of misunderstanding. Who said your breakthrough needed validation? Noah didn't have public agreement. He had divine instruction, and it saved generations. Genesis 6 to 9:22. Look at Oprah Winfrey once. A poor girl from Mississippi, abused and rejected, told she'd never succeed. Today, she's one of the most influential voices of our time, not because the world believed in her, but because she believed in the assignment. Her rise didn't come by popularity, it came by obedience. Now contrast that with Bernie Madoff, the Wall Street mastermind who built an empire on lies. He controlled, manipulated, and engineered false gain. But eventually, every door he forced open collapsed, and the house of cards buried him in disgrace. The difference? One surrendered to divine timing, the other hijacked it. And then there's Elise, an unknown young woman who once felt stuck in a city that forgot her. For years, everything she tried failed. But on the 20th of August, something shifted. No big announcement, no thunder, just a quiet yes in her spirit. That night, an email came that would change everything. A scholarship, a relocation, a prophetic invitation into her calling. She didn't force the moment, she aligned with it. Have you noticed how the earth anticipates change before humans do? The way trees begin preparing for spring long before the warmth comes. That's the rhythm of trust. That's the rhythm you're walking in now. Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing, now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" And that question burns. Even now, do you perceive it? Chosen one, why have you been waking up with a strange expectancy? Why does today feel electrically different, even if nothing has happened yet? Why are you suddenly tired of waiting but too stirred to give up? Could it be because something in the unseen has already broken open and you're simply walking into its evidence? God's legendary days are never announced with fireworks. They emerge like earthquakes, quiet at first, then undeniable. Zechariah 4:6 reminds us, "Not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit." And that's how today moves, by Spirit. You don't need their call. You don't need their confirmation. You don't even need their understanding. If heaven says, "Go," then no force on earth can say, "Stay." If the gates are opening, don't stand there, analyzing the hinges, walk through. Rise. Chosen one. This is your moment. The doors you once begged to open are now swinging in your direction. Do not hesitate. Do not shrink. Step boldly. This breakthrough is your birthright. There are days when heaven interrupts history without asking for permission, and the 20th of August is one of them. This is not the reward for your strength. It is the evidence of your survival. You've walked through seasons that tried to erase you, prayed through nights that felt endless, and stayed faithful when everything around you broke. The silence wasn't God ignoring you, it was heaven reinforcing you, like the hidden scaffolding inside a cathedral. What no one saw was carrying everything sacred. The 20th of August is the day the curtain lifts, not to perform, but to reveal what's always been true. You were never forgotten, you were being fortified. Every delay you mistook for rejection was divine engineering. When architects design for height, they begin by digging deeper than anyone expects. The same principle applies in the spirit. God was not holding you back, He was anchoring you. He made me into a polished arrow and concealed me in His quiver. Isaiah 49:2. That concealment wasn't denial, it was protection. And now, on the 20th of August, the arrow is being released. Have you noticed how heavy the air has felt leading up to this moment? How has your soul been restless even though your schedule hasn't changed? That's not anxiety, it's alignment. Heaven is breathing on your name. This is not a breakthrough you created. It's one that was assigned, like Joseph, who was forgotten in a prison cell until the king called for him. You are stepping into a moment where God is bypassing protocol. They brought him quickly out of the dungeon. Genesis 41:14 suddenly doesn't mean randomly, it means divinely timed. The 20th of August carries that kind of sudden. Viola Davis, an Academy Award-winning actress, once said, "The only thing that separates women of color from anyone else is opportunity." Her breakthrough didn't come because she was discovered, it came because she endured. She spent years in hidden roles before she was honored. That's the essence of the 20th of August. It's not about being seen, it's about being released. In contrast, Adam Neumann, the former CEO of WeWork, rose fast on hype and vision, but without a stable foundation. When the pressure mounted, the entire empire collapsed. Elevation without endurance exposes what charisma tried to cover. The 20th of August is not for the charming, it's for the chosen. There's a woman named Mila who spent 11 years hand-stitching Bible verses into pieces of cloth in a small, dusty workshop no one visited. She wasn't trying to go viral. She wasn't building a brand. She was following a whisper. On the morning of the 20th of August, a curator visiting her village happened upon her workshop by accident. That encounter led to a global exhibition. No hashtags, no campaign, just divine timing. Mila didn't chase opportunity. Opportunity found her because obedience was her language. And what about you? Why does today feel heavier than usual, even though nothing in your environment has shifted? Why do you sense something moving in the spirit before you've seen anything in nature? This is what happens when the atmosphere begins to bend around destiny. Creation groans for manifestation, and your soul is finally echoing back. The world may see the same version of you, but heaven knows the blueprint has been activated. In nature, the tallest trees often grow in silence. Roots dig deeper with no audience. Storms prune their branches until only strength remains. The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Psalm 118:22. And now the stone has been placed not in the back, but in the center. The rooms that once excluded you will have no choice but to make space, and they won't just see you, they'll witness you crowned. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Psalm 23:5. The 20th of August is the day that table is set, not for vanity, but for vindication. Your enemies won't be silenced, they'll be seated. The same mouths that mocked you will have to watch God honor you without you needing to explain how it happened. This is the justice of heaven, clean, holy, undeniable. So rise, not to prove anything, not to gain acceptance. Rise because the season of hiding is over. Rise because the 20th of August is not a prophecy you heard. It's a door you've just walked through. You've been faithful in the fire. Now step into the fullness of what that fire forged. The delay has expired. The release has begun. This is not just your breakthrough, it is your unveiling. And the world has no idea what's about to rise from the ashes they left you in. You may not be able to explain it, but you can feel it. The air around you has changed. It's not your environment that's different. It's your spirit that's responding. The 20th of August carries a current, a divine charge, a vibration only discerned by those whose ears are tuned to heaven's frequency. You've been walking through your days feeling slightly off-center, a quiet restlessness humming beneath your thoughts. That's not anxiety. That's alignment. Your soul has picked up the signal before your eyes could catch the vision. Something sacred is in motion. Why have you felt so unsettled, even when nothing is visibly wrong? Because your destiny is standing at the edge of time, calling you forward with a voice too familiar to ignore. The stirring you feel isn't confusion, it's confirmation. The 20th of August wasn't marked by your calendar. It was carved into your spirit long before your birth. That's why you've been feeling the pull. That's why your dreams have felt louder. That's why hope, despite everything, still clings to you like breath. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1:7. You were not placed on the earth to survive the cycle. You were sent here to disrupt it. And now, the very thing you've only been able to sense is beginning to take form. This is the kind of moment you used to try and describe to others but didn't have the words for. You didn't know how to explain the ache in your chest that felt both holy and terrifying. You couldn't articulate why silence started to sound more like invitation than rejection. But the 20th of August puts language to what your soul always knew. This is your moment. Heaven is now shifting the conversation in your favor. A royal designer once said, "You don't become something new. You become who you've always been." Without apology. That designer was Coco Chanel, ridiculed for challenging the norms of femininity and fashion. Yet today, her name represents timeless influence. That's what happens when destiny starts speaking louder than opinion. In contrast, Billy McFarland, the infamous founder of the fraudulent Fire Festival, also dreamed of legacy. But he substituted the process with illusion. He created noise without structure, and when reality demanded substance, he collapsed under the weight of his own hype. He was remembered, but not honored. There's a difference. And then there's Ezra, a quiet logistics coordinator in a faith-based non-profit for 10 years. He worked behind the scenes, building systems no one praised, solving problems no one understood. On the morning of the 20th of August, his name was mentioned in a board meeting by someone he'd only met once. That afternoon, he was promoted to regional director. No application, no announcement, just divine remembrance. Could it be that your name is being spoken in a room you've never entered? There are things aligning now that you won't even know about until they land in your lap. A payment being processed, a yes being written, a gate being opened without your asking. The 20th of August is not just about being blessed, it's about being remembered. And when heaven remembers, it does so with overflow. Your prayers and gifts have come up as a memorial offering before God. Acts 10:4. You weren't praying into emptiness. You were etching your name into eternal blueprints. And now the architect is revealing the structure. In the natural world, water always flows to the lowest point. But in the kingdom, favor flows to the faithful, to those who kept showing up when no one saw, who whispered promises back to God when it felt ridiculous to believe. The 20th of August is the day that kind of faith is honored. Why is today echoing louder in your spirit than any day before it? Because acceleration has begun, not hype harvest. You're not being fast-tracked because you're lucky. You're being elevated because you endured. So prepare to be called out, not for shame, but for crowning. You will be honored in the presence of the very systems that once ignored you, not because you demanded it, because heaven decreed it. And when God remembers a name, all creation must respond. They won't understand how it happened, and they're not supposed to. Let them be stunned. Let them whisper. Let them dissect every angle, searching for logic where only favor could live. The kind of movement happening in your life now cannot be explained by formulas, credentials, or timelines. The 20th of August isn't just a shift, it's a divine detour around their expectations. This isn't about meritocracy, it's about obedience. And obedience never needs an audience to be validated. Why do they keep looking for natural explanations to what was clearly born of the Spirit? You don't need to post a timeline. You don't need to build a case. When heaven appoints a moment, it comes fully clothed in authority. You're not obligated to apologize for acceleration. The wind blows wherever it pleases. You hear its sound, but you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going. John 3:8. So it is with you now. Let them try to trace the wind while you ride it. This is what it looks like when a hidden yes becomes a public unlocking. This is what happens when obedience is honored in full view of the very ones who assumed your stillness meant surrender. The 20th of August is the kind of day that exposes the weight of your endurance, not to shame anyone, but to vindicate the invisible sacrifices you made in the quiet. Sacrifices no one clapped for. Decisions you made when your flesh screamed quit, but your spirit whispered, stay. Then, there's an old Japanese practice called kintsugi, repairing broken pottery with gold, not to hide the cracks, but to highlight them, to make the fracture part of the glory. That's what the 20th of August is doing with your life. It's pouring glory into the places that once bled. You're not being rewarded for perfection. You're being elevated because you remained. How many times did you keep walking when silence made you question if heaven was even listening? A modern example lives in civil rights icon Rosa Parks. When she refused to give up her bus seat, she wasn't seeking a headline. She was following an inner knowing. She didn't shout. She sat. Obedience, not defiance, became the seed of national awakening. That's what sacred alignment looks like. Quiet decisions that shake systems. But not all decisions in silence lead to legacy. Consider Lance Armstrong, once a hero, until his victories were exposed as manufactured. He didn't wait. He manipulated timing. He didn't trust the process. He fast-tracked prestige through deception. The world watched his crown turn into a courtroom. Favor without foundation always crumbles. And then there was Jonah, a man called by God who ran the other way. It wasn't until he was swallowed by consequences that he surrendered to destiny. Those who cling to worthless idols forfeit the grace that could be theirs. Jonah 2:8. You, however, didn't run. You stayed. You yielded. And because of that, the 20th of August was etched into your life as heaven's response to your restraint. Could it be that your delay was less about resistance and more about refinement? There's something sacred about staying loyal to a vision when there's no confirmation, about believing in a harvest while standing in drought. You held the line when it cost you comfort. You obeyed when it cost you visibility. And that's why this legendary day carries weight. It's the unveiling of what trust in the unseen produces in public spaces. Blessed is she who has believed that the Lord would fulfill his promises to her. Luke 1:45. That's you, the one who believed without proof, the one who held on when logic said to let go. So, don't shrink now. Don't explain what only God could do. August Vine doesn't require your defense, it carry heaven's endorsement. Rise into the moment you were built for. Let your life be the answer. Let your existence be the evidence. Because this is what it looks like when the chosen ones are finally activated. Miracles do not obey logic. They respond to availability. You were never required to predict the choreography, only to keep showing up in position. The 20th of August is not about you forcing the how. It's about you surrendering to the who. You've been taught to track every detail, to chase every step, to build according to visible outcomes. But heaven operates on trust, not templates. Miracles chase the ones who stop chasing control. What if the moment you stopped managing the outcome was the moment heaven accelerated it? Release the pressure. Lay down the obsession with timelines. Your job was never to manufacture. Your job was to be ready. The supernatural is not allergic to structure, it's allergic to fear. God doesn't need your formula. He needs your faith, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, says the Lord Almighty. Zechariah 4-6. The 20th of August was not placed on your calendar to be analyzed. It was given to you as a window, and that window is open right now. There are contracts moving through systems with your name on them. There are conversations unfolding in rooms you've never stepped into. There are people being stirred awake in the middle of the night, thinking of how to bless you without knowing why. What if the thing you wept over in secret last week was quietly solved this morning while you made coffee? What if what you called a wall was actually a door waiting for your surrender? Not your strategy? Why does God keep working behind the scenes while you feel stuck in the lobby? Because the lobby was never a waiting room, it was a holy staging area. Faith is not passive. Faith is the active resting of a soul that knows where its source flows from. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. Stillness is not weakness. It is the weapon of the aware. And this day, the 20th of August, is heaven's call to still your mind and activate your spirit. Steve Harvey. A man once homeless and rejected in his early comedy career tells how he almost gave up just days before his breakthrough. He said, "God doesn't show you the whole picture because your faith would never be activated." Today, he's a household name, but only because he learned to release the how and stay faithful to the who. That's the energy of the 20th of August, heavenly coordination overtaking human effort. In contrast, Elizabeth Holmes once claimed to revolutionize blood testing. She pushed for premature glory and cut corners in the dark. Her downfall was not bad intention, it was obsession with control. Her failure teaches us this: when you fake divine timing, you'll eventually run out of man-made scaffolding. And then there's Dion, a middle school janitor in Detroit. He wasn't chasing visibility, but every morning at 5 a.m., he prayed over the lockers of the students, calling out their names, their safety, their future. On the 20th of August, one of those students, now a tech investor, sent him a letter with a $40,000 gift and a note that said, "You're the reason I didn't quit school." Dion didn't calculate the harvest. He watered faithfully. And that's what drew the supernatural. Could it be that your obedience has already triggered a wave of movement you can't see yet? Nature tells us that seeds do most of their growth underground. Thermodynamics teaches us that pressure generates heat before transformation. Even physics reminds us that invisible forces can push entire systems into motion. The 20th of August is heaven's synchronized eruption, timed to collapse what resisted you and open what was locked. What once seemed late now proves to be exactly on schedule. Now to Him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to His power at work within us. Ephesians 3:20. There is no delay in this dimension. There is only unfolding, and you're standing in the middle of it. Why have you been measuring your momentum by what your eyes see when it's your roots that carry the proof? You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are blooming. You are ascending. You are stepping into the frequency of fulfillment. What the world calls sudden is simply God saying, "Now." This is not hype. This is holy timing. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Isaiah 43 to 18:19. That new thing begins not next month, not next year, but now. On the 20th of August, this is the moment your timeline collides with His transcendence. So, don't hesitate. Step in, not with fear, but with fire. Not with apology, but with authority. The systems are already bending in your favor. The blessings are not being manufactured, they're being remembered. And now that the gate has opened, the only question left is, will you walk through it? The 20th of August is not a lucky break. It is a divine appointment written long before your name ever appears on a resume. This day is not here to excite you. It's here to activate you. It doesn't ask for your reaction. It requires your response. This is not the kind of day that ends at midnight. This is the kind of day that echoes into bloodlines, alters spiritual genetics, and rewrites entire futures. It's not just about what happens to you, it's about what happens through you. Why does today carry the weight of centuries even though you've only lived a few decades? Because this is the day your lineage shifts. The shame your grandmother carried, the silence your father endured, the fears your siblings buried. It breaks here. The 20th of August becomes the hinge that generations turn on. You're not just healing, you're ascending. You're not surviving anymore. You're manifesting. You're not waiting for life to notice you. Life is rearranging itself to respond to you. For such a time as this. Esther 4:14. That phrase isn't poetic. It's prophetic. And it rests on your shoulders now. Your inner child, the version of you who used to dream in secret. Sketch visions in the dark. Whisper prayers under bedsheets. They see you now. They see this moment. This is the day that child gets vindicated. You'll know it's the 20th of August because of how everything begins to click. The right people seem to appear without explanation. The call that felt delayed suddenly drops into your inbox. What once felt disjointed now aligns with grace. This is not a coincidence. This is convergence. A divine alignment engineered by a God who speaks galaxies into motion. What if you're not chasing destiny anymore because destiny has started chasing you? That's the rhythm of divine flow. It's the place where striving stops and strategy submits to surrender. You're not exhausting yourself to be noticed. You're walking with the kind of favor that magnetizes movement. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Psalm 23:6. You've entered the favor zone. Not because of manipulation, not because of hustle, because of obedience. Ava DuVernay, the acclaimed filmmaker who directed Selma and When They See Us, once said, "If your dream only includes you, it's too small." She didn't reach the mountaintop alone. She created space for history to breathe again through story. Her influence wasn't built overnight. It was birthed in obscurity, pain, and persistence. That's what the 20th of August holds. Impact that transcends biography. But not everyone honors the weight of timing. Jeffrey Epstein, a man who once controlled billion-dollar rooms, manipulated status and power to build his kingdom of darkness. For years, the doors opened, but behind every door was rot. And when the curtain fell, it crushed everything. When access is earned through corruption, it always returns with consequence. Now compare that with Elena, a young midwife in Sao Paulo who labored faithfully for 10 years in a clinic no one celebrated. On the 20th of August, she was named Director of Women's Health for her region, not because she applied, but because a mother she once saved during labor rose into government and never forgot. Honor doesn't need promotion to find you. It only needs memory. Could it be that your name has been in circulation in realms your feet haven't touched yet? This isn't karma. This is kingdom, doors sealed by rank. class and tradition are trembling, not because you pushed them, but because your soul just received heaven's green light. He opens doors that no one can shut. Revelation 3-7. The access being granted now isn't transactional, it's transformational. What once eluded you is now arriving with acceleration. Not because you became louder, but because your frequency shifted. You're not walking into rooms uninvited. You are the invitation. The infrastructure of your next chapter is already responding to your arrival. Why does today feel like standing at the edge of a cliff while your spirit dares to fly? Because something massive has already been released in the atmosphere, and heaven will not retrieve it. The 20th of August marks the collision between readiness and release. What your soul knew before your memory was formed is now walking into manifestation. So, let the future hear it. Let the past submit to it. Let everything in you rise into it. This is not just a big day. This is a legendary day. The kind that becomes myth to others, but memory to you. The kind of day that doesn't just bless you, it reroutes every life connected to you. What was once sealed has now been supernaturally signed off. Everything that was blocked has been granted divine clearance. You're not standing in the same atmosphere anymore, even if your surroundings appear unchanged. The realm around you has shifted. It's not just circumstantial, it's dimensional. The barriers weren't broken with noise. They dissolved through divine timing. You were never rejected. You were simply being preserved until the coordinates of heaven and earth finally aligned. And that alignment is not future tense. It is now. It is the 20th of August. Have you felt it lately? The lightness that can't be traced to a specific event. The unexpected clarity emerging like sunlight through early morning fog. This isn't wishful thinking. This is spiritual confirmation. The resistance that once pressed against you like invisible weight is lifting. The confusion that clouded your direction is thinning. And the most remarkable part, your environment didn't change. You did. Why does it feel like peace has arrived before the breakthrough even shows up? Because peace is the signal that you're already walking in it. It's not about seeing the door open. It's about feeling your hand on the knob. You will go out in joy and be led forth in peace. Isaiah 55:12. Peace doesn't wait for proof. It partners with presence. In neurological terms, this is called cognitive repatterning. The mind begins to shift long before behavior follows, and in the kingdom, the spirit begins to expand before the evidence arrives. That's what the 20th of August represents, the shift before the spotlight. Take Dr. Caroline Leaf, a cognitive neuroscientist who once said, "Your brain changes moment by moment based on how you direct your thinking," but long before science named it. Scripture declared it, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind," Romans 12:2. And today, that renewal is no longer internal only. It's becoming visible, tangible, inescapable. There was a time when Nelson Mandela sat in a prison cell for 27 years, no stage, no spotlight, no signal that his cause was winning. But during that darkness, something shifted internally, and when he emerged, the world didn't just see a freed man, they saw a formed one. The 20th of August is your emergence, not just release from what held you, but revelation of who you've become. Could it be that the version of you stepping forward now is the one heaven's been waiting on all along? And then there's Liana, a grocery store stocker in rural Ontario who, during COVID, began praying over every receipt she touched, not loudly, not publicly, just silent agreement with God's promises. 3 years later, on the 20th of August, a woman whose life she unknowingly touched returned with a story, that single receipt, tucked in her purse, reminded her not to take her own life, the fruit of silent prayers, the reward of unseen faithfulness. What is done in secret will be rewarded openly. Matthew 6:6. This is the open season. The curtain is lifting. The quiet labor. The whispered intercession. The nights you didn't fall apart. Though everything inside you shattered, none of it was missed. Why is it that the world seems to be noticing you only now, when your deepest transformation already happened? Because the world sees results, but heaven sees resolve. And today, the 20th of August, the invisible victories start to announce themselves with undeniable impact. You're no longer hoping to be chosen. You're walking like someone who knows they are. This is not about ego. It's about evidence. The internal fire that kept burning through storms has now become the external glow they cannot ignore. You're not just walking in direction. You're moving in divine confidence. Let us not become weary in doing good. For at the proper time, we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Galatians 6-9. You didn't give up, and now the time has come. So walk, not quietly, not uncertainly. Walk like heaven wrote your name into this day, because it did. The 20th of August is not just the beginning of a new season. It's the unveiling of the one heaven crowned in private long ago. You didn't quit when you had every reason to. You didn't disappear when disappointment tried to swallow you. You stayed when staying made no sense. And for that, this day, the 20th of August, is legendary. Not because everything feels exciting, but because everything is being activated. This is not the kind of day that waits for your mood. It arrives with instructions. It doesn't ask how you feel. It asks how you'll respond. Why does this moment feel like an invisible hand is guiding your every step? Because it is. Heaven is placing subtle, strategic nudges around you, divine coordinates disguised as coincidences. You may find yourself unexpectedly pulled toward the right room, the right conversation, the exact word you didn't know you needed. These are not interruptions. These are invitations. Your ears shall hear a word behind you, saying, "This is the way. Walk in it." Isaiah 30:21. And when that whisper hits your spirit, don't delay. On legendary days like the 20th of August, hesitation can push miracles into holding patterns. The doorway is open. Don't stand at the threshold questioning whether you're ready. You are. What if your first instinct isn't random but revelatory? This is the season where your yes holds weight. That idea that won't let you sleep, launch it. That message you've been scared to send, write it. That phone call you've been overthinking, make it. That invitation that feels too big for your current capacity, step into it. Heaven doesn't need your qualifications. It needs your yes. Obedience is better than sacrifice. 1 Samuel 5:10-22. Brené Brown, a research professor and global voice for vulnerability, once said, "There is no innovation and creativity without failure." But she never stopped showing up. She followed small nudges that led to massive movement. She didn't chase platforms. She chased the truth. And because of that, truth made room for her voice. That's what the 20th of August holds. Movement birthed from obedience, not ambition. In contrast, consider Elizabeth Holmes again. Driven by a desire to be seen as revolutionary, she ignored every internal nudge to slow down and manipulated truth to accelerate recognition. The result? A global fall from grace. When your soul is louder than your spirit, disaster is inevitable. Then there's Omari, a former worship drummer who laid down music to care for his mother full-time. For 3 years, no stage, No sound, just faithfulness and grief. On the 20th of August, he was offered a position as music director in a city he'd never been to after someone discovered an old clip of him from 5 years earlier. They had no idea what he'd been carrying, but heaven did. Could it be that your yes in hidden places is now echoing in rooms you've never entered? You are being called into a season where your presence will shift atmospheres, where your voice will bring solutions into places saturated with confusion. You're not being promoted, you're being deployed. And when God deploys a person, it's never to fill space, it's to fill purpose. The creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. Romans 8:19. This is not about walking in for attention. You're not entering rooms for recognition. You're walking in as revelation. What you carry isn't just skill, it's spiritual voltage. Your discernment is sharper than ever because your spirit has been sharpened by fire. Use it. If there's no peace, walk away. If your soul leaps, say yes before fear can speak. Why do the opportunities you feared now feel like divine summons? Because the 20th of August isn't the end of something, it's the beginning. The gate is open not to finish a race, but to start a redefinition. Your ideas won't just serve, they'll disrupt. Your presence won't just be noticed, it will be felt. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Isaiah 61. The light is not future tense, it's now, and it's resting on you. So don't shrink, don't hesitate. Don't talk yourself out of what heaven has already prepared. August, year me isn't asking if you're ready, it's declaring that you are. Now, go walk through the gate. Not with caution, but with clarity. Something about you is different now. People won't be able to name it. They might not know exactly when it happened or how, but they will feel it. There's a weight on your words, a shift in your presence. You're not louder, but your authority is undeniable. You're not striving, but you're being sought. And the 20th of August is the reason why. It's not your charisma that's changed, it's your resonance. You are finally vibrating at the frequency of fulfillment. Why do you feel more grounded now, even though your circumstances haven't fully changed? Because heaven didn't upgrade your surroundings, it upgraded your identity. You're not standing in potential anymore. You're walking in performance. The spiritual scaffolding beneath you has been reinforced. And even when others don't understand it, your atmosphere will announce it for you. Not everyone will clap, and that's okay. Some will grow distant because they preferred the version of you who doubted, who hesitated, who asked for permission to be powerful. But you were never assigned to be small. The Spirit Himself testifies with our spirit that we are children of God. Romans 8:16. This moment was not built for their applause. It was built for your alignment. What if their silence isn't a dismissal but a sign that heaven has moved you into a new frequency they can't decode? You don't need their confirmation. You already have God's. The world may have overlooked you, but heaven didn't. You were never off the list. You were simply being refined in quiet until your spirit could carry what your assignment required. And now that you've passed the test, the 20th of August has been authorized as your release date, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. It will not delay. Habakkuk 2:3. This is that time. You no longer have to manufacture moments. They're arriving without strain because you're finally in sync with what was always yours. You used to chase opportunities. Now they are sent to chase you. Conversations, contracts, divine collaborations, each one begins flowing like water to low ground. But this isn't a flood that overwhelms. It's a river that recognizes the one who's been walking upstream without applause. Could it be that the drought was never a punishment but a setup to make sure your roots went deep before the rain came? Violinist and visionary Lindsey Stirling once said, "The spotlight is not meant to make you look good. It's meant to illuminate what you've carried in the dark." And that's what the 20th of August is doing, illuminating what obedience has built in secret. You're not being discovered, you're being revealed. And not every chosen one answers the call immediately. Jonah, called by God, delayed out of fear. He ran in the opposite direction, not because he lacked the call, but because he underestimated its cost. But even in the belly of resistance, he was still God's. And when he surrendered, revival followed. Those who cling to worthless idols forfeit the grace that could be theirs. Jonah 2:8. This is the warning that births wisdom among the chosen. Grace was never gone. It was simply waiting for surrender. And then there's Sarai, a young consultant who turned down promotion after promotion, not because she wasn't ready, but because she was afraid of outgrowing the people she loved. But on the 20th of August, something broke. A dream, a word, a moment, and she said yes. Within weeks, not only had she stepped into her assignment, but those around her began to rise as well. Her yes wasn't betrayal. It was a ripple of alignment. Why does this stage feel less like an arrival and more like a remembering? Because you're not becoming someone new. You're stepping into who heaven always said you were. You are not here for recognition. You are here as revelation. Your presence is a solution. Your discernment is surgical. Your creativity carries healing. Your voice breaks delay. Arise, shine, for your light has come. Isaiah 60:1. And it's not about the light making you visible. It's about it making you undeniable. So don't shrink. Not now. Don't explain your glow to people who refuse to rise. Don't dim your brilliance for rooms that never saw you in the dark. The 20th of August is your turning point, not just for influence, but for impact. You are not lucky. You are loyal. And heaven is responding with elevation. Stand in it, fully, boldly, without apology. Your spotlight is not a performance. It's a prophetic signal. You were faithful. You were consistent. And now you are activated. Some of you will receive a message today, an email, a voice, a whisper that shifts your entire atmosphere. It may be a phone call you weren't expecting, a notification that lands gently but shakes everything loose. And when it arrives, you won't need confirmation from anyone else. Your spirit will recognize it before your mind has time to make sense of it. It won't just excite you, it will humble you. It will make you weep, not out of sadness, but from the weight lifting off your back all at once, because when heaven says now, your soul responds before your brain can articulate what's happening. Why does something in your chest feel like it's standing at attention? Even before the evidence comes, that's what divine timing does. It pulls your future into your present. The 20th of August is not just another checkpoint. It's the activation of a word long held in waiting. This is the day heaven has been preparing behind the curtain. The script is being rewritten. The credits are rolling on the old version of your life. And the new story, the one where you're no longer background, but builder, starts today. You'll feel it before anyone else does. There will be a softness in places where you used to brace yourself for pain, a stillness where anxiety once roared. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. Psalm 23:2-3. This is what restoration feels like. Not an explosion, but a quiet resurrection. People around you might not grasp what's happening. They'll see your glow and assume you've found some new trend, a new tactic. They won't know it's transformation. They'll see doors open and wonder who pulled the handle. Let them. You don't owe anyone an explanation for grace. You are not the publicist of your miracle. You are the proof. Your peace will preach louder than your posts. Your calm will confirm what God already declared. Why does this favor feel faster than anything you've ever known? Because this is divine velocity. The season has shifted, and time is now yielding to spiritual urgency. Things that used to take months will now take days. What once required you to press is now being pressed toward you. I am the Lord. In its time I will do this swiftly. Isaiah 60:22. This is what happens when wisdom catches up to wait. God entrusts you not just with breakthrough, but with responsibility. You're no longer impulsive. You're no longer scattered. You are tuned in, steady, dangerous to delay. And because of that, heaven can finally release what it's been holding until you were ready to carry it. This is a trust reward. You were trusted with hidden pain. Now you'll be trusted with visible power. Take it in. Don't rush this. This is not a blur. The 20th of August is a spiritual photograph, a still frame in eternity, one that will live inside you for years. You'll return to it again and again, not because of what happened externally, but because of what awakened inside of you. This is the day where the weather changes in your spirit. The wind shifted. The page turned. Could it be that you've already stepped into the chapter your future self will thank you for not quitting on? Joanna Gaines, designer and storyteller, once said, "Sometimes the most beautiful things are the ones we barely notice happening until everything looks different." She wasn't seeking a spotlight. She was following the rhythm, and the rhythm became resonant. The 20th of August is doing that in you, now adjusting your internal pace until it matches heaven's flow. And then there's Raphael, a former street dancer in Manila who spent years teaching underserved kids in abandoned parking lots. On the 20th of August, he was invited to choreograph a major stage production by someone who had once driven by, paused at a red light, and watched him teach in the rain. What looked like obscurity became evidence. His consistency created a doorway. Why are tears rising when you're finally getting what you prayed for? Because it wasn't about the thing, it was about what it unlocked inside you. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a longing fulfilled is a tree of life. Proverbs 13:12. This is not just fulfillment, this is resurrection. This is what it feels like to be remembered by heaven. So, breathe. Speak gratitude aloud. Journal what you feel. Take a walk and notice how the wind feels different on your skin. This is not sentimental. This is sacred. The atmosphere is testifying on your behalf. The 20th of August is not your climax. It's your emergence, not the final scene, but the establishing shot of your visible becoming. You are not on the brink. You are in bloom. So walk boldly into it. Heaven has trusted you with power. Now trust yourself to carry it well. Legendary days don't always arrive with noise. They arrive with frequency. And on the 20th of August, that frequency has found you, not because of what you did, but because of what you became. This is not an emotional high. This is a divine signal. It's a pulse from heaven, confirming that you're no longer waiting. You're now in the rhythm of receiving. Why does it feel like something has landed in your spirit before your eyes have seen anything change? Because that's how the prophetic moves. It always reaches your soul before it reaches your timeline. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews 11:1. Something sacred is sinking into your core. You can't name it yet, but you can feel it like gravity under your ribs. The future isn't distant anymore. It's standing at the edge, whispering, I'm ready when you are. Oh, you may have assumed your moment passed, that you missed your chance, but divine timing doesn't run on human clocks. The 20th of August is proof that you were never late. You were in preparation. While you doubted yourself, heaven was laying infrastructure. You weren't stuck. You were being synchronized. Could it be that what you thought was stagnation was actually precision timing? There's an effect in engineering called constructive interference. When waves align, their amplitude multiplies. That's what's happening in your life now. The alignment of your soul, your surrender, your prayers, your quiet yes has created a supernatural surge. This is the vibration of promise, the frequency of fulfillment. You're not tuning into a new signal. The signal is finally matching your matured spirit. Look at Maya Angelou, poet, prophet, pioneer. For years, her truth was buried under trauma and silence. But when she spoke, the world listened, not because she screamed, but because her soul resonated. There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. She once wrote, "The 20th of August is the day your untold story begins, speaking on its own frequency." And then there's Elias, a retired mechanic who, in his 70s, began writing children's parables at night. For years, no, publisher answered. But on the 20th of August, a young editor found his manuscript by accident during an office move. That same month, Elias's first book became a school-wide curriculum in 4 cities. He thought his window had closed. He didn't know heaven was just waiting for alignment. Why is your heart racing without evidence? Because your spirit already sees the table being set. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Psalm 23:5. This is not wishful thinking. This is spiritual reception. You're no longer begging, you're receiving. Not because of force, but because of frequency. The outer world might look unchanged, but everything under the surface has moved. The tectonic plates of your destiny just shifted. It's not always visible, but it's always felt. The kingdom of God is within you. Luke 17:21. And it's vibrating now, not with noise, but with knowing. What if the delay was never about denial, but about tuning your spirit to recognize what's already yours? You are aligned now, not with potential, but with precision. The 20th of August is not the climax of your story. It is the convergence point where preparation becomes positioning. You may not fully see it yet, but you feel it. The signal is clear. The frequency is strong. The doorway is already unlocked. So stay attuned. Stay awake. This is not a moment to dismiss. It's the announcement of the unseen becoming inevitable. The signal that your yes has reached heaven, and heaven has answered today. Your entire being is vibrating in harmony with what was always yours. The frequency of your inner world has finally caught up to the sound of heaven, and when your energy aligns with your assignment, reality must respond, not out of obligation, but out of divine recognition. This is not just spiritual alignment, it's magnetic inevitability. The 20th of August is not the beginning, it's the unveiling. Why do your surroundings feel slower, even as your spirit feels faster? Because the transformation already happened inside of you, and now the rest of the world is simply catching up. The clarity in your eyes, the rhythm in your steps, the peace in your chest. It's not random, it's residue, proof that the shift didn't just begin, it's already taken root. The old has passed away, behold. The new has come. 2 Corinthians 5:17. You didn't just evolve, you emerged. The friction that once irritated your soul no longer rattles you. The noise that used to trigger anxiety now fades like background static, You're not numbing, you're navigating, and you do it from a place of anchored knowing. This is what real confidence feels like, not performance, but presence. There's a calm that settles when you finally step into what God always saw. It's not pride, it's spiritual precision. You are carrying something eternal. And today, the 20th of August, it begins to show. Could it be that what they call glowing up is really just your spirit catching fire in public when others say, "You seem different"? What they're really noticing is the frequency shift. You've stopped outsourcing your value. You no longer chase empty affirmation. Validation doesn't drive you anymore. Vision does. Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. Colossians 3:2. Malala Yousafzai once said, "We realize the importance of our voices only when we are silenced." But her return wasn't just recovery, it was revelation. When she stood again, the world shifted. Not because her voice was loud, but because it carried weight. That's what the 20th of August does. It exposes the weight of what you've carried in silence. And then there's Eliora, a once overlooked admin assistant who, after years of faithful behind-the-scenes work, created a digital prayer map that began spreading organically during a global crisis on the 20th of August. It reached a mission leader in Brazil who offered to translate it into 8 languages. She never asked for a stage. She simply stayed obedient, and heaven made her unignorable. Why does the old pressure no longer feel necessary, like a costume you've outgrown? Because you're not trying to prove your worth anymore. You are aware. Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame. Psalm 34:5. You no longer seek doors. You are the door. You no longer wait for green lights. You are the signal. The shift is not coming. You are the shift. You're not chasing alignment anymore. You are walking in alignment. You're no longer hoping to be chosen. You're walking like someone who already is. Lift up your heads, O you gates, be lifted up, you ancient doors, that the King of Glory may come in. Psalm 4:7. That's what you are now, a divine access point, a gate through which glory is allowed to flow into the earth. And on the 20th of August, that truth is no longer hidden. Could it be that you've stopped searching for the moment because you've realized you are the moment? So stand in it. Let your eyes see what your spirit already knows. The room didn't shift. You did. And now the room responds. And that shift in identity, from hidden to heralded, from hesitating to heaven aligned, is what makes the 20th of August so legendary. This isn't about ego. It's about evidence. This is the day your spirit no longer flinches at the sight of the door it walks through without knocking, because now the door recognizes you. Let's talk about timing. Not every window stays open. In fact, some never return, once missed. But today, you've stepped into one of the rarest spaces in all of time, a moment where the window hasn't just opened. It has invited you in, not timidly, boldly. The 20th of August is that invitation issued directly from heaven to the one who stayed when others ran. Why does everything feel like it's saying yes to you at once? Because it is. Even the things that once said no are shifting their tone. Environments that rejected you are now rearranging to receive you. People who couldn't see your light before are now warmed by its fire. That long-awaited yes, it's already on its way, and it's greater than you imagined. Not because you demanded it, but because your alignment summoned it. Yes, the Lord will give what is good, and our land will yield its increase. Psalm 85:10. You're not forcing a favor, you're flowing in it. And that's why this day feels surreal, because it's not just another step forward, it's a portal. Could it be that the things falling into place now are not sudden but synchronized? You'll begin to notice signs, license plate numbers, divine names, unusual timing, dates that line up with old dreams you buried. Conversations you never expected will resurface. Answers you thought were lost forever will land softly in your lap. I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten. Joel Stein, Asarim Vachemish. Some of you will feel the nudge to launch the thing you shelved. Others will finally leave the space that suffocated you. And for many, this will be the day you speak your truth without fear of consequence. Not because it's safe, but because it's necessary. That's how you know this is more than momentum. This is divine orchestration. Look at Tyler Perry, once homeless, now a creative empire unto himself. He once said, "You can get a lot done when you let God do the driving." His rise didn't come through strategy alone. It came from alignment. That's what the 20th of August offers. Not a plan, but a path. Not control, but convergence. And then there's Imani, a nurse in Nairobi, who, after years of working night shifts in silence, finally decided to start a care home for forgotten elders. On the 20th of August, the property she'd prayed for came available at half the cost, offered to her by someone she'd once helped in an emergency room without knowing it. She didn't chase the open door. She had become the key. Why do the wildest dreams suddenly feel practical, almost obvious? Because when divine timing meets full surrender, destiny no longer resists. It rises. The friction you once felt was never punishment. It was preparation. In the time of my favor, I will answer you. And on the day of salvation, I will help you. Isaiah 49:8. Today is that day. Not just for help, but for release. You were born for this portal. The resistance around you was never random. It was coded with timing. And the 20th of August isn't just your date, it's your divine intersection. Could it be that the voice calling you forward now isn't external but the echo of who you've always been? Walk into it, not with hesitation, but with authority. This is not wishful thinking. It's fulfilling. This isn't alignment as a concept, it's alignment in motion. The steps of a righteous person are ordered by the Lord. Psalm 37:23. And today, those steps are not crawling, they're converging. The 20th of August is not another chance. It is the moment the eternal clock strikes now. And when heaven opens a portal like this, chosen one, you walk through, or you look back. So move. This is your divine summons. Step in with your name, your clarity, your history, your fire. The window has opened wide. The invitation has been issued, and everything you've carried was meant for this crossing. The vision that flickered in your soul, even when everything around you shouted, "Give up," was never a fantasy. It was a frequency, a divine instruction encoded with an invisible timestamp. And now, chosen one. That timestamp reads, now. This is your acceleration moment. The moment the dam breaks and what once trickled becomes flow, not forced, not faked. Flow that was always meant for you. Why has that dream refused to die, no matter how impossible it seemed? Because it was never born from you. It was planted by heaven. Write the vision, make it plain on tablets, though it linger. Wait for it, it will surely come. Habakkuk 2:2. You didn't imagine it. You inherited it. And now the inheritance is being released, not because you earned it, but because the time has come. But hear this clearly. New seasons demand new systems. You cannot drag old fears into this open field. You cannot carry yesterday's scarcity into today's overflow. The soil has shifted. The light has changed. The timing is different. Your mindset must evolve to match the atmosphere. You cannot put new wine into old wineskins. Mark Stein, Esarim Vestein. Scarcity thinking doesn't fit in the architecture of abundance. Fearful hesitation doesn't belong in rooms built for decisive favor. Second-guessing your anointing in this hour could cost you assignments bearing your name. You must walk like you belong, because you do. Could the inner resistance you're feeling be just your old programming trying to survive? Psychologically, the brain resists change because it's wired for predictability. But spiritual obedience has never been about predictability. It's about propulsion. You're not being asked to understand every step. You're being asked to trust the pull. The gravitational force of destiny is stronger than your questions. Queen Esther didn't step into her assignment with certainty. She stepped in with obedience. And as she did, the kingdom moved. That's what this hour demands from you. Courage before clarity. Surrender before outcome. Why is the breakthrough happening now? Not years ago, when you cried out more desperately. Because desperation isn't the key. Readiness is. And now you are ready. Healed enough to carry it. Bold enough to walk in it. Whole enough to protect it. To everything there is a season. And a time for every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. This is your season of supernatural coordination. You're not behind, you've been aligned. The delays weren't denial. They were design. You weren't being punished. You were being positioned. And now the release begins, not as a trickle, but as inheritance. So shed the fear. Starve the lack mindset. Silence the inner saboteur that says, "You're not ready." You are. The 20th of August has arrived, and with it, the chapter that was always promised. Could it be that this version of you is what the vision's been waiting on all along? Now walk not as someone hoping to be accepted, but as one already chosen. The righteous are as bold as a lion. Proverbs 28:1. So roar. Take up space. Let your walk announce what your mouth doesn't need to explain. Because this time, chosen one. The vision isn't just alive. It's in motion. You didn't stumble into this moment. You were summoned. The warfare you faced wasn't random. It was time-based resistance. The enemy tried to discourage you not because you were weak, but because the coordinates were drawing near. The 20th of August is not just an open door. It's a turning of the entire hallway. What once felt narrow now feels necessary. What once felt like silence now feels like sacred instruction. The 20th of August is not about luck. It is about legacy. It's about orchestration, not coincidence. This is not another spiritual high. This is a scheduled breakthrough. It's the day where the preparation you endured in silence meets the promotion that has been whispered in heaven. You were never behind. You were in alignment. The window didn't just open. It recognized you. And not everyone will understand what has changed, but they will respond. There's a new weight to your words. A new stillness in your walk. A new clarity in your vision. You're not louder, you're more aligned. And when your frequency matches your assignment, reality has no choice but to respond. You're not here because of charisma. You're here because of consistency. You didn't quit when it would have been easier to walk away. And because of that, this day, the 20th of August, has been authorized. Things that used to resist you will now respond to you. What once rejected you will now request you. The people who couldn't see your light before will now warm themselves by its fire. This isn't hype. This is holy timing. Expect confirmation to come in unusual ways. A call, an email, a face from the past, a door you forgot you knocked on. Things you thought were dead are being resurrected. Not for nostalgia, but for purpose. Conversations are aligning, contracts are forming, collaborations are flowing, not because you forced them, but because you finally stopped striving and started resonating. The shift didn't start today. It started when you said yes in the dark, when you prayed without applause, when you stayed when others scattered, when you let your roots go deep so your fruit could last. The 20th of August is the day your obedience becomes visible, your silence becomes sound, your glow becomes gravitational. This is not the climax of your story, it's the launch of your visible becoming. You are not just walking through a door, you are walking through a portal, a generational one, the kind that reshapes entire bloodlines, the kind that closes chapters written in pain and opens blueprints authored in glory. This is not ego. This is evidence. You are not hoping. You are happening. You are not asking for permission. You are answering to a prophecy. Let them wonder. Let them analyze. You don't owe anyone an explanation for grace. You are not the publicist of your miracle. You are the proof. You are the rhythm of a fulfilled word. The echo of prayers sown in secret. The result of trust forged in fire. This is your day. This is your window. This is your turn. And the 20th of August is the reason why. Walk through, fully, boldly, unapologetically, because the moment has already said yes to you. Now it's your move. This is not merely the end of a message, it is the threshold of a movement. If the 20th of August has stirred something in your spirit, it's because heaven was already moving long before your eyes caught up. What you've just heard wasn't hype. It was holy alignment, a call into a season where everything hidden is now permitted to rise. The waiting wasn't wasted. The warfare wasn't punishment. Every private prayer, every moment of perseverance, every silent surrender has culminated in this ordained turning point. You're not being inspired for entertainment. You're being ignited for purpose. If this word resonated with you, don't let it sit passively in your heart. Let it move through you and into the world. Leave a comment below. Declare 777 as a prophetic witness that you recognize this moment and you're ready to walk in it. Share this message with someone who feels forgotten or delayed, because divine timing is never late, only precise. And if you haven't already, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss what God is revealing next. This space is more than content, it's a sanctuary for the chosen. To everyone who has supported this channel, whether through super thanks or simply by listening, liking, and returning each time, please know this: I honor you. I see you. Whether you gave financially or simply gave your attention, it matters. Every view, every whisper of agreement, every moment you spent here with an open heart has spiritual weight. You are not just an audience. You are part of a prophetic remnant awakening in real time. And now, as you carry this word into your atmosphere, I speak a blessing over your life. May divine clarity drown out every old confusion. May courage rise where fear once lived. May unexpected favor find you in quiet places. May you move through rooms that once intimidated you with the confidence of someone sent. May peace be your anchor, wisdom your weapon, and joy your overflow. And above all, may the God who marked August 20 the heavens before you were born, now release over you the full manifestation of what has been appointed. This is your moment, not to be rushed through, not to be questioned, but to be received, honored, and walked out with boldness. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not ordinary. You are chosen, and your legend has just begun.